would Tuesday at 4 or 6 work better for you? So that is such an easy approach, and it's so not salesy, right? Like, it's so low key. And what we're doing there when you listen to that approach is we're presenting a lot of information for them to consider, but we're also handling a lot of objections before they come up. So for example, you'll hear me say things like, I actually just popped up on my roof and we had damage. So initially, if they were thinking, nah, well, we probably don't have any damage out here, we're good, but thank you. What have we already done?
You've already specified there's damage in the area.
We verified that there's damage literally down the block from this person. So one, there is damage. So that objection that could potentially be an objection, gone. We took care of it. Second thing is, I then name drop. So it's like, oh, Glenn and Mary had me over. They also had damage. So the second thing we're doing is we're saying other people are having us over. Why shouldn't you? So now they feel more comfortable because nobody wants to be first, last, or left behind. Right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the bandwagon effect. Like, oh, well, if my neighbors are doing it, like I might as well too. Verifying again, oh, our house wasn't just like a freak house that got hit. Like your neighbor had some damage too. They wanted me to come over. And then we go through and I explain that, it's not a big deal. They've got nothing to lose. It's really not a big deal. We pop up. And if you don't have damage, I'm going to let you know, like it's not a big deal. So we say that. So then if for some reason they were thinking like this person's going to come and tell me I need a new roof when I don't, you're eliminating that. So that's gone. So we're slowly chipping away at all the potential objections that you could get. And then lastly, you'll hear me say, does 2 or 4 or does 4 or 6 or whatever time.
Yeah, so that you give them a choice of time and not a choice of yes or no.
Bingo. So you give them the 2 times and it's like, they can't say no. They have to pick a time or they have to ask you another question, which is perfect because we want them to ask questions because asking a question is an opportunity for us to give them more information to make a good choice about having us over, right? So that's honestly like what I would recommend you do because it's going to be not scary at all. Not that any of it is scary, but it's super low pressure. And it gives you an in, like you have an opportunity to introduce yourself not as a storm restoration professional, but as their neighbor first. And then, oh, by the way, like, here's what I'm doing. We had damage. You want me to check it out for you? Better safe than sorry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's something that I would do because right now for you, the more that you do, the more prospects you're going to get in your pipeline. So I think the hardest thing when people get started is they're just like not exactly sure if they're ready or they're just kind of following somebody else's lead. And the mistake there is, first of all, the more effort you put in the beginning, the faster you're going to catch on to everything. So your learning curve isn't stretched out over the next 6 months. It's like maybe only a few weeks, right? So I would start with go around your neighborhood, keep a little list of the addresses, like who you've talked to, what their names were, what they said, if you did sign up an inspection, et cetera, so on and so forth. And just try to do as many inspections as you can and set an intention. Like the biggest thing that you're going to want to do right now, especially since it's kind of like slow season, just because it's winter time. And I know down where you guys are at, it's not as wintry as up here, but I'm sure that it feels like it. You're like, but it's Christmas. So, well, you'll probably like, I would make a goal for every single week so that you don't feel like you're just flying by the seat of your pants. Like say, I'm going to knock, 100 doors this week or 50 doors this week. And your intention can be like, your goal might be to set up, 10 inspections. And you might end up only completing 6 or 7 of those because sometimes people reschedule or they forget and they're not home or whatever. But if you can keep chipping away and actually have a goal each week, this is going to kind of force you to build momentum.